Good morning and welcome to On the Spot. My name is Yvonne Muchaka and let us take a look at the news making the headlines. Ministers, civil servants meet over salaries. Triple C seeks parley recourse over bans. 5 drown after haulage truck excavator collide on bridge and plunge into river. Zim HIV positive pregnant women number among world highest. UZ students build drones to aid country's critical sectors. And in sports, Zimbabwe's winning streak finally ended by Bangladesh tourist level series. And now for the news in detail. Public Service Minister Paul Mavima has invited more than 40 public service unions to a meeting to discuss salaries and conditions of service today. Finance Minister Mthuli Ncube is expected to attend today's negotiations amid concerns that his mid-term fiscal policy review and supplementary budget announced last Thursday failed to adequately cushion workers from inflation. He raised the monthly tax-free threshold to just $50,000. Workers feel that Ncube's taxation measures are inadequate given that the country's poverty datum line is well above $120,000 and inflation shot up to 256.9% last month, according to latest official figures. Civil servants want United States denominated salaries, but government has shot down their demands. The opposition Citizens Coalition for Change says it will approach Parliament when it resumes sitting on August 16 over systematic banning of its rallies through unfair use of the Maintenance of Peace and Order Act, MOPA. The law was used yesterday to bar its rally in Glenora, Harare, to celebrate the constituency MP Wellington Chikombo's March 26 by-election win. MOPA, which replaced the oppressive Public Order and Security Act, is also deemed tyrannical because its provisions require political parties and other organizations to notify the police in advance of any planned gatherings. Civic society organizations and opposition political parties view the piece of legislation as aimed at stifling protests against President Emerson Mnangagwa's government and bar meetings of opposition parties despite the constitution allowing peaceful demonstrations. While ruling ZANU-PF gatherings have always been given the nod, opposition party and civic society gatherings have often been blocked. National Police spokesperson Assistant Commissioner Ponyati said political parties had not been meeting the provisions of MOPA when applying to hold rallies. Ahead of the March by-elections, the Triple C faced similar challenges when its rallies and other campaign activities in Binga, Kwekwe and Marundra were disrupted by the police and suspected ZANU-PF officials. Meanwhile, civic society group Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition have also notified the police on a planned demonstration over the worsening human rights abuses in the country on August 5. The Crisis Coalition President Peter Mtasa said they had been summoned by police to discuss the demonstration. CICZ brings together various civic groups, including women, farmers, war veterans, youth, students, residents, the academia, and labor. Zimbabwe has been ranked one of the 22 countries with the highest burden of pregnant women living with HIV. This is despite the country having made major strides in testing and preventing the virus, which caused havoc in the 1990s and early 2000s. The health minister has introduced a program as a result to eliminate HIV transmission from positive mothers to children through medication. Health and Child Care Ministry Director for the AIDS and TB program, Owen Mugurungi, said the health ministry is working on ensuring that HIV transmission from mothers to babies is eliminated. Mugurungi said children born of HIV-positive women would receive diagnosis at birth to determine whether they require they acquired HIV infection or not, and if they did, they were treated early. The United Nations Human Rights Council (UNHRC) has called on UN member states to implement technology-based solutions to solve human trafficking problems. UNHCR commemorated the World Day Against Human Trafficking in Persons on Saturday. The day is observed internationally on July 30 each year. Recently, Zimbabwe was adjudged by the United States Embassy as one of the countries struggling to rehabilitate human trafficking victims and to deal with the scourge. UNHRC said the borderless nature of information communication technologies were enabling human traffickers to expand their reach and profits with impunity. Hence, countries needed to adopt ICT-based technology to counteract it. Last Friday, the Southern Africa Development Community (SADC) met in Malawi's capital Lilongwe, where the Committee of Ministers of Justice and Attorney Generals said legal instruments and law reviews should be put in place and appropriate national, regional, and international legal frameworks created to combat human trafficking. Justice Minister Ziyambi confirmed Zimbabwe's participation at the SADC meeting, but said he was not at liberty to share Zimbabwe's contributions. In other news, 5 University of Zimbabwe students studying aeronautical engineering came together to develop 4 drones, formerly known as unmanned aerial vehicles, that can be used both in border security surveillance, crop fumigation, filming and videography, and other useful functions. President Mnangagwa recently spearheaded the establishment of innovation hubs so as to produce startups which provide focused solutions to the country's needs as well as produce goods and services. The hubs are now seen as an important vehicle for finding solutions to the country's pressing problems, generate higher level manufacturing, and spur economic growth. The young men from the UZ Aeronautical Engineering Department showcased their designs recently at the UZ Research Innovation and Industrialization Week, a major event that allows students to demonstrate their talents in technology. 5 people drowned on Friday after a haulage truck and an excavator collided on a bridge in Beatrice before both vehicles plunged into the Mfure River below. Police said one survivor, a man, managed to swim to shore. In a statement on Sunday, police said divers had retrieved 2 bodies while a third was trapped in the haulage truck. 2 people are still missing and are presumed to have also drowned. Police spokesperson Assistant Commissioner Paul Nyati confirmed that the incident happened at the 54-kilometer peg along the Harare-Masvingo Road. The Midlands town of Redcliffe has seen an upsurge in drug abuse, mostly among school children, following the closure of the government-owned Zimbabwe Iron and Steel Company more than a decade ago. The company, at its height, the second biggest integrated steel company in Africa and employing more than 4,000, was the economic backbone of this once thriving town as well as nearby Kwekwe. However, it was forced to stop production in 2008-2009, weighed down by undercapitalization, corruption, and mismanagement. Since then, drug life has become unbearable for most families, with many hardly able to afford a single meal per day, prompting an upsurge in violence and drug abuse. In a recent interview, Redcliffe MP Lloyd Mukapiko said the issue of drugs and substance abuse has become a huge headache for which solutions must be expeditiously sought. So serious is the challenge that at least 3 local high school students have seen committed suicide in suspected cases of drug and substance abuse. The opposition Citizens Coalition for Change has slammed government for pretending that it was assisting the Anglican Church in Fig Tree, Matabeleland South Province, to stop land invasion at its Cyrene Farm. Cyrene Farm was invaded by more than 500 people in 2000 at the height of the ZANU-PF-supported land invasion. Chibusi Lawayo spokesperson Sweden Chirodza accused President Emerson Mnangagwa's government of targeting mission schools. Since the invasions, the Anglican Church has been struggling to evict the invaders. Mission officials said the settlers had been vandalizing fences and destroying the environment through illegal gold panning, with no action taken against them. In 2020, church authorities wrote to President Emerson Mnangagwa seeking his intervention to stop the invasions, but nothing has been done. In a letter dated 28 May 2022, directed to the Matabeleland South Chief Lands Officer, the church says it was worried about fresh invasion of its 2,540-hectare property, which houses Cyrene Mission High School and clinic as well as a cattle ranch. The letter was signed by Matabeleland Diocesan trustees Reverends Cleophas Lunga, Fritz N. Madida, and Moffat Sasa. In 2015, former Land Minister Douglas Mombeshora sent a delegation to investigate the issue, but it was later reported that Cyrene Farm had been gazetted for land redistribution, together with the controversial Maleme Farm, which saw villages and chiefs come together to challenge the takeover. And now for sports news. The Zimbabwe National Association, Zifa, says it is not in a hurry to engage World Football Governing Body FIFA for readmission. While speaking at the inaugural Zifa strategic meeting held in Lawayo this Saturday, the chairperson of the Zifa Strategic Committee, Alice Masepe, revealed that the whole exchange derived powers from the Emergency Extraordinary Congress, quizzed on the recent CAF correspondences that called for the reinstallment of the Fortune Kamombo-led Zifa executive. Mosebe said no one challenged the constitutionality of the EGM, which installed the interim Zifa board. Zimbabwe suffered their first loss under new head coach Dave Hutton after succumbing to a second 7-wicket victory against Bangladesh in the second 2020 International at Harare Sports Club on Sunday. After Zimbabwe won the first match of the series on Saturday, the latest result meant Bangladesh leveled the series 1-1 to set up what should be an entertaining series decider at the same venue on Tuesday. Formula One champion Max Verstappen overcame a spin and his worst starting sport of the season to win the Hungarian Grand Prix on Sunday. His 8th win of the season pushed Verstappen's lead to 80 points over Charles Leclerc as F1 heads into its middle season break. Mercedes placed both its cars on the podium for the second straight race. 7-time F1 champion Lewis Hamilton carved his way from 7th to a second place finish. Teammate and pole sitter George Russell was third. And sport news brings us to the end of our bulletin. We will read the stories making the headlines once again. Ministers' civil servants meet over salaries. CCC 6 Pali recourse over bans. 5 drown after haulage truck excavator collide on bridge and plunge into water. Zim HIV positive pregnant women number among world highest. UZ students build drones to aid countries' critical sectors. And in sport, Zimbabwe's winning streak finally ended by Bangladesh tourist level series. That was our news bulletin right here on Zimbabwe Daily. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have yourselves a wonderful, blessed rest of day. Thank you so much.